Generaldirektor der FAO, Graziano da Silva.
I would like to first thank this opportunity. It was really a very good discussion during the panel, and many issues have been raised. I would like to highlight in this opportunity 4 points. The first one is that, as has been addressed by different panelists, eradication of hunger is possible. Even today, we produce enough food. Despite that, we have near 1 billion people unnourished, and another, let's say, at least 1 or 2 billion overweight, and obesity is growing. So I believe that we need to look at this carefully. The problem of malnutrition is a big concern, and it's growing as a policy issue. And I would like to address the point that we need to teach people how to eat. We teach people everything, including how to drive. Why not teaching people what and how to eat? We need food and nutritional educational programs. Food consumption has been more and more complex. We need to address this issue as a policy issue, public policy issue. The second one is the point of eradicating hunger. We agreed that we need a partnership. Nobody can do it alone, neither a country, nor a government, nor agents like FAO or the EU Commission or anyone. But there has been an important point raised by Minister Kosgei by Kenya, that is the role of the conflict. Internal conflict, armed conflict nowadays, is the main reason for most of the crises that we have, especially those protected crises in countries like Horn of Africa and many others. She properly remembered that we are not going to celebrate the Rio +20, but we will also celebrate, unfortunately, the crisis in Somalia +20 years. It is the same crisis that began in 1991, was the draw. And at that time, the same concern were raised by international agents, international community, etc. So I would say that despite that we need a food security global policy, we also need that the UN Council, Security Council, deals with those internal conflicts, because they are more and more one of the important causes of hunger around the world. The third message is that increased production of food alone will not solve the problem. Most of the people that are nourished now in the world, is not that they don't have food available. They cannot buy the food. They cannot have the food, the access, the food they need. And this brings us to income distribution problems. This brings us to improve the access to food through programs like cash transfer, cash for work, etc., that has been successful, addressed by many countries, including Somalia. The last comment that I would like to emphasize, that we have really in Rio +20 a unique opportunity for the food and agriculture sector to be there present and to say very clear that the they are committed to be part of the solution. As I said before, there is no sustainable development possible without a green agriculture. There is no sustainable marine research possible without a blue economy. So we need to work much more with the private sector, with civil society, with farmers, with cooperatives, to promote this sustainable way of growth. Thank you.
Herzlichen Dank, Graziano da Silva. Und das letzte Wort hat bei uns immer der EU-Kommissar Dacian. Ciolo.
Thank you very much. First of all, I would like to thank to Ilse Aigner to organize this kind of meeting this morning and interministerial meeting on the afternoon. I think it's already become a good tradition in the margin of Grüne Woche, and I think it's very useful to have this exchange of opinion. My conclusion, let's say, after this discussion of this morning is that the question of balance between the need of food and the good management of natural resources is not only a European problem, but we can see that it's a more larger, even international problem, and our agricultural policies have to answer to this problem. This problem is not only regarding the production, but also the consumption. So this good balance between production and food and the good management of natural resources have to be managed not only at the level of the production, but also the consumption. How to produce better, but also how to consume better. And the problem is not only the quantity of products of food, like General Director FAO mentioned, but it's also the problem of access to food. And here, regarding access to food, I think to prices, I think also to capacity of storage and distribution to food and to transport this from a part to another of the world. So I think when we talk about access to food, we have to take into account all these issues. The quantity, the level of production, but also access to food. And I think we can solve this problem not only with emergency actions. Of course, we need emergency actions when you have a big problem in a part or another of the world. But I think we need also to act in more structural manner. And here I think to the role that agricultural policies at regional level can play. Because if we want to manage this question to the medium term and long term, I think that we have to encourage this part of the world who have this problem to access of food to develop for the medium term and long term agricultural policies at regional level, adapted agricultural policy to their own specific problem. And only then we can also manage the situation at international level and to find solution at international level. And regarding this management of the problem at international level, I personally wait strongest leadership from new renewed FAO and modernized and reformed Food and Agriculture Organization, and the European Commission will fully support this reinforcement of political leadership and let's say technical to capacity to really act and to really put together ideas at international level. Thank you very much.
Herzlichen Dank, Kommissar Ciolo. Wir haben jetzt Zeit für Ihre Fragen. Wenn Sie bitte Ihren Namen.
Now there's time for your questions. Please, if you could just introduce yourself, say who you are and who you're working for, that would be nice. Well, if you could concentrate on the international global agenda, I think we only owe this to the colleagues who have traveled from far to be with us here today. Well, Deutschlandfunk is on my list. Do we have a microphone for the colleague? Thank you very much. Jule Reimer from Deutschlandfunk. Well, what I would like to know is whether sustainable agriculture also means that more nature conservation areas are designated for species protection, because all countries have these conflicting targets of protecting either nature or agriculture. And I would like to ask Mr. Graziano de Silva this question.
For sure, I believe that we need to increase protected areas to preserve the biodiversity. We are losing in a high speed our biodiversity around the world. I also agree with the idea that we need to intensify and also recover some areas that has been used especially on pasture extensions. We need to improve those cultivated land and transform this area that had been gradually degraded, and some of them, including abandoned, and are in the way to being desert areas. So I believe that all those things need to be done together. The problem that I see is that in this moment, there is very little coordination of those processes. We need to agree much more at the international level, concrete actions to be implemented. We are stopping when we would need to be accelerated this process. Thank you.
Herzlichen Dank. Als nächster auf der Liste
Mr. Jungeblut from the Neue Osnabrücker Zeitung, please, on the third row, please. Good morning. Klaus Jungwirth from the Neue Osnabrücker Zeitung. It seems that one topic, a very global topic, is how to deal with energy crops. This applies to Brazil, the US, and also to Europe. This is a question anyone can answer it. My question is as follows. Do we need to change the way we deal with energy crops, with bioenergy crops? May we even have to change our type of mobility? Who are you addressing with your question? Mr. Graziano da Silva or Mr. Ciolo, please.
Well, I would like to ask also the Brazilian minister to give the answer related to the experience in Brazil. So I would avoid mention this exception, as I said before, because I believe really the conditions that Brazil have are very special in that sense. By the way, let me say that we finished a study in among the Latin American countries, and we found only 4 countries in the region that could expand biofuels production without affecting food security. Those countries are Argentina, Brazil, Paraguay, and Colombia. And the variable common of all those countries is that in all of them, they have a huge amount of area under extensive pasture that could be converted in very good lands for biofuel use, especially if we think about that we can use some kind of species that are drought resistance, like as I mentioned, the Jatropha, that's just one of them. But also can be used to grow palm trees for oil, etc. The other comment that I would like to make is that has been emphasized by Minister Aigner. Food security comes first. That's the rule. We need to put that as, in this particular moment, biofuels is a promise. Biofuels is a transitional process. We are waiting for several very new and good improvements on biofuels production, like as mentioned, the use of every kind of waste, animals, waste, crop waste, and also new source. I know, for example, that in the Pacific coast, in California and also in north of Chile, there are very good experiments using algae for biofuel production, and the yields that they achieve is 100 or more than we have in the best production that is nowadays the use of sugarcane in Brazil. So those improvement, technological improvement, can really change completely the actual situation that we have. So now the position that we have in FAO is that cereals should not be used for biofuels production.
Thank you very much.
Herzlichen Dank.
É uma posição muito clara no Brasil.
Well, our position in Brazil is very clear.
Qualquer produto,
We
tirar produto
do
da
use
mesa para
products,
colocar nas ruas. E eu quero só dar uma informação referente àquela pergunta que houve.
it appears the microphone up on the panel is not loud enough.
Mikrofon ein bisschen lauter drehen.
Estão transferindo? Se eu puder falar mais alto.
Okay, this is better. Thank you very much.
Eu já aprendi que quando você tem
Now, once again, I learned that if you have a microphone, you don't need to speak so loudly, but I may be wrong. Now, coming back to the question,
uma informação. Precisa começar de novo, eu começo.
maybe I start over again. I would like to give you a piece of information
Eu
here.
estava apenas dizendo que nós
What I would like to say is that in Brazil,
temos a intenção
we
de
do
tirar
not
o alimento da
intend
mesa
to put food, remove it from the table and put it into the cars to produce fuel from it.
com projetos de
We have
recuperação
biodiversity projects in Brazil to reclaim land. I would also like to inform you that in Brazil,
combustível
prices for fuel have increased as a consequence of the price for sugar.
produtores correram para o açúcar.
Producers are using sugar for this production, and as a consequence, in some cases, they stop producing fuel from it. We also looked into wind energy in great detail, water energy, water power.
E as questões de barragens.
We looked at
Nós
dams,
também temos as nossas preocupações,
and
embora seja a mais
certainly we
cara,
have our concerns about these possibilities. We don't want energy production to become too
temos tido
expensive.
trabalho extraordinário através
Now, I
do
think
nosso
we
Embrapa.
made great work through our Embrapa research institution. We have a lot of very positive research results here, and we can build on them. And this is in our very interest at the end of the day, because we want to continue with our research activities to ensure a sort of development which is in line with our political guidances.
Herzlichen Dank. Der Kollege in der ersten Reihe.